Hello, I'm Mary Merheim, and I'm on a mission to improve and educate the nation on nutrition in later life. It's a hugely neglected area that has a massive impact on the health of our aging population and the people who might be caring for them. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Roberta Smart. Hello, Roberta. How are you today?
Hi, Mary. It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, no, thank you for agreeing to join me on my podcast about nutrition in later life. Tell us all a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've got a wide-ranging work and personal experience with this issue. I've worked in care homes over the last 5 years. I've been part of the wellbeing team. So taking an active interest in not only the residents, but their families and communicating with families on how to deal with the changes in their loved ones. Also spending time working with families who are ready possibly to need to put their loved ones into a care home. So if they're at home in that sort of twilight situation where they're caring for loved ones themselves and they might be struggling more, it's been an absolute passion to try and help these people really see what they can do while they're at home and how they take the next steps forward. And nutrition and nourishment is a massive part of this from a health and safety standpoint.
That's so true. Yeah. I mean, health and safety is a massive thing, isn't it? And so do you mean sort of more about people who might be frail and fall, or perhaps the issues of cooking by yourself and the dangers that might pose to people who've lost a bit of strength?
Well, absolutely. So any of us that are caring for aging relatives, we start from a place of knowing that person and we still see them as the same person, even as they're aging and getting poorly. The mindset is very much they'll get better. They'll go to hospital, they'll come home. They're in bed, but they'll walk again. So we tend to hold on to our loved ones as we knew them. As a care professional and as someone outside, sometimes it's our job to kind of do a reality adjustment to say things have moved and changed and we need to change with it. The health and safety aspect comes from if mom or dad, say, are living alone. Yes, as the offspring, we're going to take decisions to do what's best for them. But if you're looking after that elderly relative, you've brought them into your home. This is a big emotional burden. And this is, I think, where my passion is, the emotion you take on of wanting to do the best for your loved one and agreeing and getting to the place where you accept maybe you can't. And I think our conversation today could really help people highlight whether they're in the place where they are still doing their best and can do it, or whether they've reached the line where they can do no more and the next step has to be taken. And I think diet, nutrition, eating, losing weight can very often be one of those lines that helps people make that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the benefit of being a carer is that you come in and see that person as they are now.
Yeah.
You don't sit there worrying about what that person was, what they've lost, what you want them to be able to do, what they used to do for you but can't do anymore. You literally walk in and see where we are now and try and bring that into a positive, don't we?
Absolutely. So it's the phrase, meet them where they are. So I've
Yeah.
worked extensively with people with very advanced dementia. So when I first meet them, that's who I'm meeting. I'm meeting someone who is nonverbal or semi-verbal, who talks in circles, who is repetitive, who believes they are a different age, a different stage, and I'm in their world. And as an actor and a performer, I find that quite easy. So I just dive into their world and go, absolutely. You're 12 years old and it's World War II and you're worried about the bombs. Okay, that's where we're at, and I'll sit with you and have a cup of tea while we're in the bomb shelter. If that's where they are, that's fine. It's a lot easier for me. For relatives coming in and visiting in the care facilities, and I've worked in private homes as well. So for a loved one, husband caring for a wife, they want their person back.
They do, don't they? So much.
They want to hold on to their person. And you experience this the same with your dad, Mary. It's like you want your dad. You're not seeing there's an old gentleman who's in his 80s, who's getting frail and is moving towards the end of life. And this is the taboo part of it all. We do our best with what we've got, but they are truthfully and honestly moving towards end of life. And that's not giving up on them or being disrespectful or, oh, how dare you, they'll live forever. Of course they won't. So adapting to that reality and doing the best with what you've got. So if that's 15 minutes in the garden is the highlight of the day, we accept that. They're not going to do a whole day trip like they used to the seaside. You know, it's that adapting to what the new wins, the new little wins are.
Totally agree with you, Roberta.
It's the same, isn't it? It's finding the little wins.
It is.
Feel good that you've done the best you can with what you've got and what they can manage. But this is a massive topic, isn't it? It's huge and very.
It is huge. I mean, we could go down why people that are older lose their appetite, but as you know and I know, there are a multitude of reasons, but they are important, because if you find the reason, you can start looking at a solution. And I think totally hear what you say and totally agree with what you say, but there's also that point where we can't just give up because they're at the end of the life, and I'm not saying that's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
But I also think that, you know, there are little, as you say, subtle changes that you can make that can actually stop that person from losing so much weight that, or having so little nutrition that they can't recover from that sore they've got on their leg, or they are bound to have a fall that will mean that they'll break their hip and end up in hospital and die in hospital. You know, I think, we get to that point when we're talking about very much the older person, because obviously my focus isn't just on people that are at that stage in life. You know, we've got to do a bit of prevention as well. We're talking about the over 65s who are way off being in that situation most of the time. But when you do get to the really old, the really frail, it's still important to ensure that what they eat is what they want to eat, but also is as nutritious as possible, because it does make a big difference. But you're right, it's little tweaks. You know, nobody really at any stage in their life, and particularly when they're older, want to be told what to do and how to do it, and what you're doing is wrong.
Exactly.
You know, as you mentioned, my father, it was exactly what happened to him. He'd been a foodie. He'd been making his own pate right up till his 80s. He loved the experimentation with food and the creation and the scientific aspect of it. And then it just suddenly sort of dropped off, and he lost interest, and he was fading away in front of me for no good reason other than he wasn't really eating very much. And the challenge was to find something that he wanted to eat, because there was no point me putting something really, really healthy in front of him, because that wasn't going to tempt him. But what I had to do was put something tempting that was also packed with some really good nutrition. And that's one of the challenges, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, there's the shift in how people eat. I mean, I noticed at the care home, people were very hungry for breakfast. It's very much set meals, as you would understand in a residential setting, set meals. Whereas when you're at home, you can eat all day and every day. Breakfast seems to stay popular, seems to be accessible. So again, making what is available as nutritious as possible and not filling up on starch. So yes, the toast and jam is popular, but what can you put against it? Lunches light and bitey rather than big meatballs. I mean, a big mashed potato and roast just the whole thing. It terrifies me at the moment because it's hot weather. I don't want to eat a big plate of hot dinner.
Good point.
So bitey bites. It reminds me of when we were feeding the little children, when we had our little kids. We would do a little bit of chopped up cheese and chopped up ham and a few tomatoes and a bit of cucumber. We would do a chippy choppy, and they could pick it up. And isn't it bizarre? But you almost want to go back there.
You do.
Nibble on a bit of pepper, nibble on a bit of cucumber, have a nice piece of cheese, especially if it's one of their favourites, a nice piece of crumbly cheese, a piece of bread and butter. To them, it would be really familiar, you know, and it's little bites rather than big platefuls. And I think if you're offering all those little bites and then leaving, you know, fresh fruits available and squash drinks and everything else, and you're trying to make things available, sometimes that is the best you can do. We can't force feed people, obviously. We can't force it down. The neglect would come when it's not available. They're living alone. There's nobody there. They're all going all day without seeing anyone, and they're not accessing food or drink. And that's a whole another conversation. We could go off into so many platforms here. Let's try to stay focused.
We'll need to have another chat maybe some other time, and we can focus on something else. I'm totally understand where you're going from. I mean, it's shocking that 1 in 10 people over 65 in this country is at some stage of malnutrition, and the problem as well is that I was helping somebody with their PhD recently, actually, and she was looking at that as we age, we eat less protein, but actually we need to eat more protein, and that's a huge issue. As you say, the bread, the toast and jam in the morning is lovely and familiar, but it's just carbs, and if you're not eating a huge amount, carbs are less important than almost anything. We need to pack people with protein and fiber and vitamins and minerals, and carbs are kind of an afterthought, I think, a little bit. And as you say, with picky food as well, we've got to be careful that it's not sandwiches every day, because 2/3 of a sandwich is just bread, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It takes a bit of planning. It takes a bit of, it's funny actually, because if I zoom hard left on this conversation, we have a whole fitness industry, and we have a whole bunch of young, healthy people who are meal prepping for the week, writing out their plans, ticking off their macros. They're buying protein products. You see them in all the supermarkets now: mousses, gels, pancakes, puddings, all protein packed, even ready meals now, extra protein. And it's become a buzzword, which I think is almost like coming around now. We can access those products for our elderly relatives. The protein mousses and the protein puddings, they're now not just a sweet pudding, because they've got 25 grams of protein powder mixed into them, so they're a bit denser in the chew. They're not light and fluffy, they're a bit heavier, but you're getting protein in a pudding or in a milkshake. And it's interesting because the focus for marketing has gone that way to the young fitties.
Yes.
So we kind of have to, if you like, we're going to reclaim that aisle for our relatives now, and put those products in the basket for the older people. Because one of my favorite things was at the care home, we used to put Marvel, your powder milk,
absolutely,
into the milk, whip it up with the Nesquik milkshake. I used to wolf that stuff down. My God, did I put weight on? Because I didn't realize it was double calorie milkshake. I had no idea.
It's double calorie milkshake and also added protein, isn't it? Because Marvel is actually, it's dried skimmed milk, so it's not stupidly calorific, but it's got all the nutrients that people need. And absolutely, fortified milk, I seem to remember when I was working in a care home, is what they call it. So add the skimmed milk powder, Marvel. There are other skimmed milk powders, obviously, but that's just such a little tweak that you can make that makes a big difference, isn't it?
And protein powders out there now, again, it's for the bodybuilders, it's for the fitties, for the gym goers, but you buy yourself a big bag of a chocolate and a vanilla protein powder. You mix that into the porridge, you can mix that into a milkshake, you can mix it into a warm hot chocolate drink. So again, products which are being created and marketed to a different dynamic, we can access, and quite economically, to boost. So if the morning drink, the lunchtime drink, and the evening drink are having power boost of protein in them, that's a really good, on the tip boxes, that's brilliant. That's really would offset the nibbling cakes and nibbling a piece of fruit. So we're not expecting them to eat a whole full steak or a chop, or even, I don't know, it's weird because meat then suddenly becomes challenging because of the taste, because of the texture, because of the chew and the swallow.
Well, as you know, I often tell people that, as we age, our taste buds change, and our savory taste buds deteriorate more quickly than our sweet ones. So the savory food that we always used to love, I've got the classic story of a friend of mine who brought her mum home, and her mum was looking underweight, so she made sure that they had sausage and mash, which was her mum's previous favorite meal, on the table ready, and mum just didn't particularly want it because her taste buds and her desire to eat it had completely gone. So we are facing people who are not only not particularly hungry, but need that extra boost of nutrition, but also are not suddenly maybe not eating the things that they used to eat. And the sweet things that people do tend to eat are high in sugar and high in fat and are what I call empty calories. I do have a love-hate relationship with protein shakes. My whole not mission, but my whole focus is really trying to get new nutrition from natural food. Protein shakes worry me a little bit. It depends how the protein is derived, what it's come from. We are more sensitive to all sorts of things when we get older. So the more natural and the more basic the food is, the more likely we are to get the nutrition that it says on the packet. I sort of refer back to these, and I'm not going to name a name, but these horrible yogurt drinks that we are
unnecessary.
Those horrible yogurt drinks that are promised to be the answer to everyone's prayers, and they have all the nutrients that they say on the side. Fair enough, but actually they're so synthesized and so artificial that our clients, our loved ones, they drink it, they fill up with all this artificial protein and as I say, nutrients. But actually, the body rejects most of it and eliminates most of it because it's not in a format that we can necessarily synthesize within our bodies. So, I totally agree that there is a place for protein added food, but if we can try and do that naturally, and going back to meat, slow cooked meat is just, a bit of slow cooked beef with lots of gravy, and that's another thing. If we can try and make not only picky food, because I think that's absolutely brilliant, but also very moist food is really important. Not just puree food, not just those horrible ideas of somebody feeding somebody in a care home and shoving a spoon in, but to stay hydrated, you don't just have to drink water, do you? You've got custard, you've got gravy.
Gravy is your friend.
Huh?
Gravy is your friend.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, pour the gravy on the salad. No.
But you're right. You're right. Those savoury meals made in smaller portions, so they're not very on the plate with lots of. You're verging on the mince and moist, but why not? If potatoes have got lots of, sort of cream and butter, and salt and pepper, and your mashed vegetables, carrot and parsnips. Oh, I remember mashed carrot and parsnips. Straight away, there's a sweet flavour which is going to tantalise my taste buds, offsetting the plain blandness of a potato. The meat, if it's got the red wine, if it's got the red, the peppercorns, and like you say, soft. I'm already getting these tastes going, and even on a subdued taste palette, the veggies are going to spark something, and the red wine or the juices of the meat are going to spark something.
Yeah,
not all bland and potatoes.
Yeah,
you're right. So working on flavors, herbs, spices, getting flavors high, maybe a bit too much really because of these bland taste buds. Really be efficient, and then smelling the cooking. So again, a lot of us aren't actually cooking now. Guilty, the microwave is our friend. The chef called might in the kitchen. But if you can smell things cooking, if you can smell baking, smell the cakes baking, smell coffee brewing, smell freshly squeezed orange juice, even just for effect, the squeezing fills the air. You're stimulating more senses and then getting hopefully hunger signals going to the body.
That's so true. That really is. I hadn't even thought about that recently. Yeah, you've got to prompt the body, haven't you, to know that it's time to eat and that you're hungry. I know you work with a lot of people with dementia, and that's the messages just don't get through, do they? Dementia it's not just about forgetting things, it's about confusion, but also we pick up the fact that our body is hungry. We know that our tummy is rumbling, and our brain is just brilliant at interpreting when we feel like eating something. And those connections can be lost with dementia. So even if your body is shouting at you going, I'm really, really thirsty, or I really, really need to eat something just delicious. Somebody with dementia might be wandering around not picking up on these things. So yes, we have to prompt people sometimes to say, oh, look, you know, this is a great smell, and remind their brains that how wonderful that food is.
And this can be where routine and planning your activities through the day become important, because if there's a routine of we do X, we do Y, we have a snack. We do X, we do Y, we have lunch. We do X, we do Y, we do snack. And then the body knows. We go for the walk.
Yeah.
We go to the gate, we say hello to the postman, and we turn around and walk in, and then it's a cup of tea and a biscuit. So then we're going to go up the stairs and look after our personal care and wash our hands, because we're going to come back down and we're going to eat our meal. And believe me, all these things take so long. It is, again, very much, and I say this with the greatest respect, it's like parenting our children again.
Yeah.
In the same way we have routines and snack times and meal times, and we have to go back to planning the days out in the same way. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of our older people, they're living alone. Bless them, they can. It's my house. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
But they've no routine.
Yes.
And they're just lost in the void of either they don't think they've eaten at all and they keep eating.
Yeah.
The thing as well, I haven't had my breakfast yet. As soon as you move a plate away from their eyesight, they haven't eaten for weeks. You keep starving me and you haven't fed me at all. Or, yes, I've had it. No, it's literally on the plate in front of you. That's not mine.
I think you're right. I think, and people who can't be there for their parents or their loved ones, you know, if they live another part of the country, and you know, there's absolutely no blame put on them, but yeah, somebody living alone is very vulnerable to malnutrition. And you were just saying about routine and whatever, and I think also just having something available. I mean, I live alone. I'm quite a snacker. I'll go to the fridge, have a look what's in the fridge. I'll go to the cupboard, see what I fancy. And I've noticed that since I've been buying little packs of small square cheese, I'll probably grab one of those because that's just as convenient as having a biscuit.
I'm going to grab something. I'm still with you.
So yeah, I just think sort of having little things available that are perhaps nutritious but tempting is another idea.
There are a lot of areas we're covering. So there's the primary one of nutrition. What is the food? What are we putting on the plate and when are they having it? That's one box of conversation. But beyond that is the who is providing it, who's cooking it, who's helping them eat it, who's purchasing. We're widening out, which is why I think this conversation could be a series of about 12, because
well, let's do that one day.
But for all the good advice and for all the good suggestions which we can put forward, somebody watching is going to say, well, how do I do that? But I can't do that because, and slowly you're in a cycle, which is why I personally would say, let's open up the conversation to say, who are you first of all, and what is your responsibility? Are you the live-in carer? You're the son or daughter of mum and dad? That's one whole conversation. Are you the live-away carer? Are you the son or daughter that lives away? Another whole conversation. Are you looking at putting people into a care home because you want to meet those needs you can't meet? We can have a whole nother set of conversations, because while all these stages are going on, and they're in care or they're in hospital, mum's had a fall, she's in hospital, you're worried she's not eating enough. What are you going to take to her? So we've got almost like a 4-stage approach, which would be fascinating to go and evolve, because we know there's no one fix.
Yeah.
What's your top take if you were to have a gold star piece of bite-sized information? What's yours?
I think it is, as I said, talking to the person or watching and what they eat, and just tweak perhaps those cakes for a flapjack or a piece of cheese. I mean, you know that I've come up with these grand bars, which are nutritious cakes. So they are really, really healthy. They're full of oats and almonds and whatever, but they're they're very finely ground, and they look and taste, with all intents and purposes, like a cake. But there's some really good nutrition in those. It is, I think, as you say, if you can remember what you did when you had kids, or if you've not had kids, think about picky food. I think the worst thing you can do to somebody is overwhelm them with a huge plate of sausage and mash, because that's not listening to what they are eating necessarily. It's you putting your expectations onto them, or, as you say, going right back to the beginning of the program, who the person they used to be. And that's not who we're dealing with now.
Yes, I think that's one of the issues. Listening, observing. So listening with all your senses.
Yeah.
Because they may not tell you with their words. Listening with all your senses. What do they react well to? And how can you make that better? I think that's it, really, isn't it? What do they love, and how can I make it better? If they love apple juice, could I put some green powder, you know?
Yes.
Your super greens, can I put a little teeny smidge of green powder in their apple juice? Yeah. I know they're getting a bit more value out of that apple juice. Yeah. If I'm going to make a cake, what can I, again, because they're out there, what supplementary product can I put into that cupcake, like you've done with graham bars? You've taken the concept of a cake but put things in which are extra good. I think that can be almost a cheat's guide to nutrition. How can you mega boost anything? Yeah. How can you mega boost a dippy egg? How could you mega boost a bowl of cereal? How can you mega boost a bit of toast? Yeah. Exactly. Give them a bit of cheese with that bit of toast. Straight away, a bit of cheese is better than a bit of jam. Just
nut butters are amazing, aren't they? You can get all sorts of flavored nut butters, and you can add that to all sorts. You can add that to a crumble mix. You can add it to a yogurt. You can add it to a piece of toast. You can add it to a cake. I think nut butters. Oh, you can make ice cream out of it. I've written a book. I didn't know if you know. I've written a book called Navigating Nutrition in Later Life, and there's a really nice nut butter ice cream recipe in there.
Lovely.
So yeah, it is. It takes a bit of thought, doesn't it? And it takes a bit of time to re-navigate this person that you are caring for, as you say, closely or at a distance, and working out what is reasonable, what you can do, and what that person wants you to do. We're never going to stop people falling off the cliff eventually. I mean, that's just ridiculous. No. But if we can give some nutritious advice, or just prompt people to think about it a little bit, and make people aware of the connection between protein and healing, and appetite and frailty, and that sort of thing. If we can just make people aware of it, then I'm sure some people will come up with their own solutions.
I think almost one of the biggest jobs you've got, because this is your passion and this is a banner you want to wave and it's important, is getting people to understand this is a problem in their life. Yeah. Getting the families that like the middle-aged, it's the middle-aged women who have got kids, older, younger, who have got other humans in their world, who have got jobs, who have got hobbies, and they're starting to understand that mom and dad, or dad, either something shifted. Their house isn't kept as well as it once was. We've all had the house proud mother who actually the house starts getting a bit smelly. They're getting a little bit smelly when you visit. Their food's out of date. Warning sign, warning sign, warning sign. Yes. Allow you to see the red flag. Yeah. And not just sweep it under the carpet and go,
oh, well, they're just old.
Yes. Yeah. Doesn't mean you have to punish, obviously, and you're not going to call them out on it, but that's your alert. Some things change. Let me keep a side eye. So I was in a situation where I was non-contact with my mother for years because reasons. I reconnected with her a couple of years ago, and my daughter went first, and then I went and I visited her. And yes, she had changed from the person I was very familiar with years ago, and I went to see her and she was very happy to see me. The second time I went to see her, she didn't remember the first time. So I went, okay, mental note. Now, I was never going to get back into a close relationship. That was my dynamic. But mental note, she didn't remember, therefore something's happening. Plus, the second time I saw her, there was a big bruise on her face.
Ooh.
I said, oh my God, have you had a fall? She went, yeah. I grabbed my walker and I just went straight down. And my brain went, okay.
Yeah.
So I knew even I wasn't in a position to do anything with it because we were ostensibly non-contact. She didn't really want me in her life. But I'm only sharing this by face of the recognition of even that distance. I'm like, something's happened. Tried to follow up. Next thing I know, she's not answering the telephone. My daughter raises the alarm. We find her in a hospital, then in a care home, and she has gone downhill in that last year so fast. And I find out that my sibling, who was actually caring for her, anyway, a whole thing. You can imagine I was absolutely
sadly
there. But the point being, I did recognize just because of my experience of working with the elderly. So please, I would just put this call out to anyone listening or watching. If you notice a shift or something's odd, why are they wearing the same clothes every single day? Why are they not smelling so good? Why is the house getting unkempt? There's no food in the cupboard. Maybe
making
now
excuses not to go out as well. I found that with my father. He'd make all sorts of plans, and yes, I'll do that. And there was always a reason last minute that he couldn't do it.
And again, it's why a little slide across to if we were parenting teens, and they suddenly start locking the door and keeping secrets and wearing long sleeve baggy clothes and, you know, being on those subtle shifts that we're always told to keep our eyes out for in our children and in our teens. We need to now just shift our gaze slightly to our elders. And for most of them, you can go, no, they're fine. It's okay. I'll leave them be. It's okay that they're a bit scruffier than they used to be. It's not a drama, but I know, and I'm keeping an eye. This isn't now about making them be who they used to be, but it's you checking in and walking alongside them and not letting it get to the point where they're piled up with rubbish and they have never had a bath. You know what I mean? But now you're going to tread carefully with when do you intervene and when do you offer help. And I'll say for anyone watching, it's not easy. It's not easy to be in that position of basically you've got to now stick your nose in and make yourself the bad guy because you will. Oh yes, you will be the bad guy by doing the right thing. You'll also be the bad guy if you don't do the right thing. So you cannot win, so crack on and do the best you can.
I think you're right. I mean, I'm loath to liken people who are much older to toddlers, but if an older person isn't eating well and looking after themselves, and you put that down to, well, it's just because they're old. If you change that to a toddler who was just eating sweets and wasn't washing, you'd go, oh, well, that's just because they're a toddler. But that's not an excuse. That's not a reason. That's your point, as you say, to step in and choose your battles. We say that with every offspring that we have. Choose your battles, where you've certainly got to choose your battles with an older relative and really be passionate about the ones that really do matter to you, and let go the ones that, you know, that mum's not wearing a skirt that matches a top and her shoes look ridiculous and maybe she's got two different shoes on. That might matter to us, but that doesn't matter to them, does it?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a hard one, which is where I would just tag on. If you are affected by any of the conversations we're having, talk to somebody, talk to a friend, talk to a counsellor, talk to your GP, but have conversations for you about how you feel about what's happening with your relative. Super women don't exist. Let's stop making anyone into a super mom or a super daughter or a super woman. We're not super, we're just human. Please talk to someone about the fact that you feel conflicted, that you're confused, that you're angry, that you're trying and they're rejecting you, or you're not trying and they're rejecting. Whatever you're going through, get help for you, because again, fill your cup so you can now pour into them. This is not a time to stretch yourself so thin that you stop eating and lose weight. Yeah.
Often, particularly because we're also, I mean, we're also talking to partners and husbands and wives, aren't we? Because
Yes.
one person might deteriorate more quickly, or you might have married somebody who's a bit older to you. And yes, it always worries me that carers let their own health go to a point where they're also struggling at the same time. But you have very nicely almost dovetailed into the fact that, as you know, I am one of the very few nutrition advisors for the elderly, that I'm here for anybody. I can be on the end of a phone. I do lots of TikToks, and I'm on Instagram, and this will probably go out on YouTube. So if anybody does need someone to talk to, or some advice, or a program to follow, if it's just not your bag, but you know that something's amiss and you just want some advice, Mary Merheim's your woman.
There you go.
Thank you, Roberta. You have been an absolute joy of a guest. I mean, I know we've known each other for a while, and I've always admired the way that you approach life and your wise words. And as you say, maybe we make this into a series, because we could talk about this for days on end, and it is such a complex issue. Not only complex because why has somebody lost their appetite, but as you say, what stage are they in of their life, and what stage are you in of your life, and how much can you help, and how much do you need to let go? It's so complex, but it's so important, and it is so neglected. The connection between good nutrition and staying stronger for longer is one I just need to shout out from the rooftops, because we are living longer. You know, we're living into our 90s now, and I'm talking about people, you know, 65 plus, where we really need to start focusing on better nutrition, because our bodies aren't absorbing it as well, and we need to focus on more protein. And it's a huge issue that obviously you and I can't discuss in one little chat, and so neglected, and it breaks my heart, really, that people are left, oh, they're just old, oh well, you know, he's 80, so what can you do? No, you can. You can help.
Absolutely. and you can, if you're there, you can if you're not there.
Yeah.
And if you are struggling because of finances or geography, find someone who can help. And it's, I know it's easy to give it a quick answer here, which will raise 25 questions, which is why I would personally invite anyone watching, if you've got a question or this enrages you, or you feel frustrated because you think it doesn't apply to you, put it in the comments, because that will be what we talk about next, because we are going to come and do this again, because this ongoing conversation about, I was going to say to you, at what age do we start looking at nutrition in later life? Because as a mid-50s woman, I'm thinking, maybe I need to be paying attention now, so I'm not, you know, because my brain thinks I'm 25. Actually, I'm not. I'm 50 something, and maybe I need to, you know. So there's a lot to talk about how we prepare for that later stage. And accepting aging as a wonderful part of life, not something to avoid or be scared of. And I think that's a massive issue for anyone.
But as my father used to say, you know, oh, getting old is just no fun at all, but it's better than the alternative.
Yes. Every day above ground is a bonus, definitely.
Yeah. Brilliant. Roberta, you've, as I said, you've been a dream of a guest, and we will catch up again and do this again. And if anybody does need any help or support, you know, do get in touch. As Roberta says, comment on this or contact me directly. There's all sorts of ways you can do that. Thank you, Roberta. Enjoy the rest of your week, and it's been great chatting.
Take care.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.